2KMC, here with your 2K Compete events happening in the neighborhood.
This from earlier on, the Nuggets getting off the team bus, and we've got a quick moment now to take a look at the long-term rebounding numbers over several seasons for Adebayo.
He's really made that a focus of his game these past few years, and it's paid big-time dividends for him. He's become a much better rebounder, and it's increased his value as a player by leaps and bounds.
Now let's take a look at the Nuggets opening lineup. Bam Adebayo is out there with Clark. Then it's P.J. Tucker. And there's Iguodala. And it's Vucevic in at the 3 spot. And for the Trailblazers, they've got Al-Farouq Aminu. He's out there with Jimmy Butler. Bismack Biyombo is out there with McCollum. And it's Graham in at the point. And so the Denver Nuggets get the first points in the ballgame. Butler on the wing. And it's denied. And it's out of bounds to Portland. They'll retain possession. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Clark, some of those lottery-bound teams now giving more minutes to their younger players, developing them, looking into the future, which means more veterans, unfortunately, will have to sit and watch.
And, you know, I always say this, and it's much easier said than done, but you're a professional, whether you're in the rotation, a young player or an old player, you have to approach it in a professional manner. That means accepting the good with the bad, the sweet with the bitter, and that takes a maturity level. And, you know, when the trade deadline is behind you, you only can control what you can control, and that's what veterans should be about.
And hopefully the coach communicates the ideas behind the move, too.
I like that, but there's no obligation to do so.
Right. They grab their own miss. Here's Adebayo. Goes up with it again, and it's good on the layup.
Yeah, coach's pet peeve there, no box out.
Those are free points you're giving away. You got to work harder on the glass.
Here's Graham. He had a 27-point outing in their last game against Boston.
And don't let his defensive work get passed over. With all his steals, he was just as valuable on D as he was at the other end.
Boy, the unselfishness of Iguodala is really admirable. A forward with excellent vision, has a feel for when one of his guys is open.
Now here's Butler. He had an 18-point outing in their last game against Boston.
And he also controlled the backboard as well. I mean, he really did a terrific job.
Tucker with the ball. He's guarded by McCollum. And Tucker kicks to Iguodala. Back to Tucker. Lets the 3 fly. Portland grabs the miss. They couldn't put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with Boston.
Well, they made a few key shots, but missed many more. It was a rough night for them offensively.
And you know what? If you're not going to outwork your opposition, then you typically are going to get outplayed.
That misses, so he splits the free throws.
Boy, the upside of Biyombo is impressive. An undersized center who makes up for it with really great heart, especially on defense.
There it is, guys. One of those effort plays that makes a big difference in the game.
And GA, it is definitely making a difference so far today.
But, you know, if you're not going to take care of the defensive glass, it's going to be hard to come away with the win.
Here's Graham after the Nuggets pick up 2. Portland no good that time either. 50 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Tucker the pass to Iguodala. Lets it fly from 18. Jump shot is good that time.
Displaying intensity right off the opening tip, especially on the offensive end.
Tell you what, forget about easing into the game. They came out with guns blazing.
Here's Graham. He's gotten some minutes, but nothing on the board yet. Outside Butler. It's blocked.
Well, this is where measurements don't tell the whole story. Clark is a tremendous shot blocker despite having an average wingspan.
And as we conclude the first quarter, you learn about Jimmy Butler, difficult journey to where he is.
Basketball, that's that.
Boy, you hear that so often, don't you, Greg? Between those lines can be an escape from the outside world.
And in the end, Butler's obsession became his escape. Maybe why he remains so devoted to the game.
And so far through one quarter, it's been a lopsided game. We'll see if that changes here in the second. And when you consider how Denver is doing, guys, what are your thoughts?
Well, when you control the glass, you control the second chance opportunities on both ends.
And, you know, their rebounding advantage has been glaring, simply outworking them on the boards for that entire first quarter.
So on the floor for Denver, they've got Iguodala. Clark is out there with Vucevic. Then it's Bam Adebayo. And it's Tucker in at the shooting guard position. The Nuggets leading by 8. Now Iguodala. He picked up 12 points in their last win against Washington.
Yeah, but I thought the shot blocking was the real story. I mean, he was just everywhere. It got hard to keep track of all his rejections.
Man, like the way Vucevic, after contact, continues to work through and concentrate on the bucket. That's a credit to his body control.
Clark, you look at the defensive metrics for Nikola Vucevic lately, very good. And yet, he's been considered a liability at that end. So, in your opinion, which is?
Yeah, you know, Kevin, I think it's a blend, quite honestly. The analytics say one thing, but in this day and age, the way the game is played, big centers are typically challenged from a mobility standpoint, especially trying to defend fleet-footed perimeter guys in pick-and-roll situations and in space. To Vucevic's credit, he's worked hard at becoming better, trying to be a better rim protector and recognize where he needs to be early on with anticipation. So he's making progress, but it's a blend in my mind.
He's off on the second. Clark, a big jump in scoring, but I think a lot of that is because of the prolific role players we have in the NBA now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. When you think about starters putting up points and then you have guys that fortify benches and can get points in bunches, the first name that comes to mind for me, Lou Williams. A designated role of scoring the basketball in limited minutes. And when he gets it going, watch out. Nobody quite like Lou Williams putting it in the basket as a role player.
And there's the shot clock violation. Couldn't get the shot off in time. Trailblazers trail by 8. Aminu dishes to Graham. Now the pass to Butler. The shot misses, and it's Denver the other way. They've led by as many as 11 points. That will conclude their brief 2-game road trip.
You just can't give Iguodala these looks. He's too experienced and crafty down low.
Pass to Biyombo. Vucevic against Butler. Back to Biyombo. Plenty of space. It's Clark with the rebound. Clark's got 4 rebounds in this game.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
And really a reflection of their superior effort level to this point. It seems to me they've gone after this win a little bit more.
Graham, the pass to Biyombo. Here's Graham. He's covered by Iguodala. Portland, no good that time either.
And that is a textbook example of how to defend your rim.
And you know, guys, I love his fight and grit on the interior. I mean, he never lets a shot go uncontested.
And it's Vucevic missing.
And you can see the defenders afraid to kind of get in his way a lot of times when he's on his way to the basket. But on that one, they were there.
Hey, you got it like that aggressiveness of Butler. I mean, slicing inside and finishing with the dunk. Come on now. That's well done.
Iguodala, the pass to Tucker. He dishes it to Clark. And he gets the whistle. 2 free throws coming up.
Easy to appreciate the physicality that Clark plays with. This is what earns him those calls.
For Denver, they have gone 2 for 3 at the foul line in this game.
And they're really getting more points at the free throw line here in the second quarter.
And Greg, definitely that's one of the reasons they're in front right now.
And here is Butler. He has 6. From deep three-point range, that shot no good. And so it's the Denver Nuggets looking.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome. After 2 quarters, it's Denver out in front. They have a 13-point lead. And now with the second half.
And with a big gap on the scoreboard, the second half begins with very different goals for these teams. One side trying to mount a comeback, one side trying to protect their lead. Andre Iguodala with a strong contribution so far in this one.
But really, the numbers aren't gaudy. They don't stick out, but his energy and impact does.
Yep, and you know what? He does the dirty work for him. That grit and grind type of work. Always hustling all the time.
Our second half of basketball and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all fueled up and on the floor to start the third. On the court right now for the Trailblazers, Al Farouk Amino is out there with Bismack Biyombo. Then there's Jimmy Butler. Then there's McCollum, and it's Graham in at the point guard position.
Well, we've seen Vucevic expand his offensive repertoire, guys, adding to his old school post game. He's now demonstrating perimeter shooting and playmaking ability, and that's opening some eyes.
Nailed from three-point land.
Tell you what, for a guy who's inconsistent from 3, Tucker's showing you he can be scary out there at times for a defense.
And here in the second half of play, we're just over a minute in. Tries it from 19. But they recover it. Biyombo kicks to Graham. Portland moving the ball around. The kick outside to Butler. Just 3 to shoot from the arc. Denver grabs the miss. And Clark, as Vucevic has stepped down from that mid-range to beyond the arc, it's paying dividends.
Yeah, not only is he shooting the three-point shot when he steps out there, but it spaces the floor and opens up things for his teammates, and he's proven himself to be a pretty good passer. The face-up game proving just as effective as his post-up game, which makes him a hard cover. You know, Jimmy Butler is right in your face and candid. He's confrontational and doesn't back away from that. Entering the league under Tom Thibodeau, fire-breathing vets like Joakim Noah, that's how he rolls, and that's what he knows.
Passes to Adebayo. Shoots over Graham, and there's another one for the Nuggets.
Well, I like this execution coming out of the half. Solid. 3 for 4 from the field so far.
Now the dish to Butler. McCollum deciding where to go with it. Shoots over Tucker. Again, the miss by the Trailblazers. And if you're a coach, Clark, or a GM, how much concern do you have about acquiring a player like Jimmy Butler, who's not going to bite his tongue?
Yeah, you know, I think it's important that a winning culture is already in place with a guy like Jimmy Butler. Guys who don't mind being pushed and challenged to be their very best in the quest to win. He's a fire breather, but he's also a high-level performer, a high-quality guy. And when you have that combination, usually you're going to win.
McCollum against Iguodala. And blocked. That one goes careening off the glass.
They've shown some strength in the paint today. Their work on the boards has been impressive.
Guys, that's putting it mildly. I mean, they've been absolutely dominant.
Denver shooting their 6th attempt at the charity stripe in the game. And that one falls for Clark.
The potential is there. For Clark, it's about expanding the range so that it makes him more versatile offensively.
Here's Butler. Shot to stop the run, and good that time.
You've got to box out on the boards. When you don't, that's what happens.
Pass to Clark. Out to the right wing. Vucevic with it. Al-Farouq Amino covering.
And the 7-foot frame of Vucevic creates a lot of problems, causes a lot of problems for defenders, especially when he's close to the bucket.
This is his second trip to the line in this one. So he picks up just one from the line that time. Portland's gone 0 of 2 from deep to start things here in the second half. It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Iguodala with the steal. Now here's Tucker. He's got 9. Butler with the steal. Here's Graham. He's covered by Iguodala. Graham surveying the floor. Over Iguodala. And that would have counted, but his shot was off the mark this time. And as we conclude the third quarter, pretty much a blowout. It's been a one-sided. And it's time now to bring you our State Farm assist of the game.
Just true artistry right there. I mean, great decision on where to go with the ball, and how about the perfect delivery?
And they'd love to see every possession end this way. True team basketball.
And there may not be a lot of drama down the stretch as we head into the fourth quarter, but stranger things have happened. Taking a look at the Nuggets, Iguodala out there with P.J. Tucker. Then it's Bam Adebayo, and it's Vucevic, and it's Clark in at the 4-man position. And slam dunk by Butler.
And I love watching Jimmy Butler play. This guy is just fun to watch. I mean, he's a tremendous dunker, strong physical body, and he knows how to throw it down.
Adebayo with the ball. Biyombo on him. 6 on the shot clock. Here's Clark. Biyombo with the block.
And this is something Biyombo excels in. Timing and blocking shots.
Just 2 to shoot. Vucevic. A lot of players keep track of their stats, their own team stats. But Clark, how much do guys pay attention to stats in game?
I have no idea. I mean, I know stat sheets are given to the coaches during the timeouts throughout the game, but I don't think players in general are able to monitor their numbers. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. I imagine every team may have a player or two that can chart his numbers during the game, but the vast majority are too occupied with playing the game to keep up with the stats.
And they're looking up at the scoreboard too, aren't they? Because they give individual stats up on the board.
Oh, man. I tell you that, and then watching replays is one of my pet peeves with players. I mean, they should just focus on playing the game instead of always looking up to see if they fouled him.
And so it's McCollum. He'll bring it up for the Portland Trail Blazers. Here in the fourth quarter, their defense has been very strong, allowing no baskets. Hey, Clark, the NBA moved the presentation of the MVP award to after the conclusion of the final. You like that?
Yes and no. I think you have 2 separate awards. You could have a playoff MVP or a finals MVP, which we have. And then you have a regular season MVP. The MVP is for the body of work done during the regular season. I think there should be a clear separation between the two, quite honestly. So, no, I don't like it.
At least you're honest, Clark. And so he hits both. And timeout called. Terry Stotts has had enough.
He's forcing shots offensively, hurting his team in the process. He needs to trust his teammates more.
Chance to check out some of the tremendous play tonight from our Jordan Player of the Game.
And his shooting percentage reflects just how efficient he's been. It's better than 50%, always a sign of a solid offensive performance, but his movement and his shot selection have also both been tremendous.
Teams need contributions from everybody to win on the road, not just the stars. And he's done more than his share tonight, an outstanding performance. And guys, let's get your take on the scoring breakdown for the Nuggets.
They really haven't backed away from running and gunning at any point, but their legs still look fresh.
The number of second chance points they've gotten is also impressive. I mean, they've kept so many possessions alive with offensive rebounds.
And the basket is good. And the Nuggets lead by 20.
Well, I tell you what, energy and activity from Hardaway Jr. there, showing you exactly what it takes to keep plays alive.
And as we head to the final buzzer here, a crushing blowout, big-time dominance, and this will go in the record books as a gaudy win for the Nuggets.
And as one-sided as it gets today, you know, there were some dominant moments in about every facet of this game for that team.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, it's hard to think of what didn't go right for them. Game planning by the coaches, execution by the players, everything was just on target.
And a milestone win for the season. This will push their victory total to 20 wins even. Back to Rivers. Kicks it to Hardaway. Brooks grabs the board. The Trailblazers have gone 3 of 4 in field goal attempts since getting things started here in the fourth. And he gets contact and the whistle on the shot. 2 shots coming up. And the Denver Nuggets get called for the foul.
Kevin, at 6'3", Payton has good size for a point guard, and he uses that size to draw fouls.
And that trip coming up empty, missing both. Greg Alfred Payton's continued to improve his game, and so far, so good.
Yeah, a marked improvement in long-range percentage. Good size and defensive potential as well. He's knocking down shots. We might have something in Alfred Payton.
Payton against Rivers. That one misses. Now the Trailblazers take it the other way. It's a 4-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Miles with a wide open look. The three-pointer no good. Here's the Nuggets with the ball. Earlier in the game, they held a 25-point lead. Rivers against Payton. Here's Rivers. So it's the Nuggets winning this one easily. To come into. Thank you, David. Great interview once again. And that'll do it.